Good day and hello students. It is nice seeing you again. With all the lessons that we had previously, I assume that you know my name already. And for those who don't know yet, I am Mr. Rebenque. May I ask how is everyone doing?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. I'm doing great po.
That's nice to hear that you all, my students, are doing well despite our current situation due to the pandemic. Now let's move on our next slide. Okay, we have here, please observe carefully and take note of necessary things. For today's lesson, skill in listening and comprehending is a must in order to learn the lesson faster and more efficient. Now let's move on our lesson proper. Okay, you can see here that we have questions. Here's what we are going to do. I will read the questions first, and after I read, you will have the chance to read it again for the class. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to read the questions. Number one, what Luffy asked to Robin? Number two, what is Robin doing with her leisure time? And number three, what do you think the reason of Robin for doing so? Now, Mr. Get, may you read the questions?
Yes, sir. Question number 1. What Luffy asked Robin? Question number 2. What is Robin doing with her leisure time? And for the third question, what do you think the reason of Robin for doing so?
Okay. Thank you for your time and for the readings, Mr. Get. Now, we will move on our next slide. Next slide. Wait. Okay. We have here our dialogue. Now, here's what we are going to do. I will read the dialogue, and all you need to do is to listen carefully. You may jot down notes so you can have answers for our questions later. Okay, let me read dialogue. Luffy, what are you doing with your leisure time? Robin said. Most of the time in my room studying history. Again, Luffy. Oh, why you're spending your leisure time to study? Robin said. To get smarter and to know a lot of things, I guess. And Luffy said, sounds good. Why you want to get to know these things again? Robin answers, knowing what happened in the past is a good thing and will benefit you in the future. And Luffy responds, is it necessary that you study harder, the history than more than any subject? Robin answered, not really. I just love this kind of things. Again, for better and clear understanding, I will read again the dialogue. But this time it is much faster than before. Again, this is a dialogue between Luffy and Robin. What are you doing with your leisure time? Most of the time in my room studying history. Oh, why are you spending your leisure time to study? To get smarter and to know a lot of things, I guess. Sounds good. Why you want to get to know these things? Knowing what happened in the past is a good thing and will benefit you in the future. Is it necessary that you study harder the history more than any subject? Not really. I just love these kinds of things. Again, let's move on our next slide. I hope you get something from it. And yeah, again, we go back to our questions. Here's what we go. Here's what we are going to do with the questions. I will ask the question and you will answer it. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Question number one. Based on the dialogue, what Luffy asked to Robin?
For my answer for question number one, sir, is that what she is doing with her leisure time, sir.
Okay, that's correct. And for question number two, what is what is Robin doing with her leisure time?
I think, sir,
You may answer.
she is studying history, sir.
Yes, you are correct. And studying based on studying history, what do you think the reason of Robin for doing so, Mr. Alget?
Because, sir, I think she loves history and that she wanted to learn, sir.
Hello, Miss Alget. Oh, it seems that
Hello,
the
sir.
internet is a bit slower.
Do you want me to
Okay,
repeat
we
my
lost.
answer, sir?
Okay, okay. You may repeat your answer, Miss Alget.
Alright,
Lost
sir.
connection a while ago.
I'm so sorry for the noise, but my answer for question number two is that I think because she loves history and she wanted to learn it too.
Okay, that's correct. Thank you for answering our questions, Mr. Get. Now we will move on our next slide. Oh, wait. Our connection is a bit slow. Wait. Oh, wait a little bit. Since that the presentation is not picking up our pace. Oh, wait a little bit, maybe dear students. Seems that we have problem. Wait a little bit. Oh,
It's fine, sir. I understand po.
Miss Shalget, is the presentation still the same for you?
Yes, sir. It's still the same presentation.
Okay. I'll present it again since it's not, it hung, I guess, it's not working.
Alright, sir. Just take your time.
Wait a little bit. I just stopped presenting. Why is it? Okay. Let's now proceed. Wait. I'll just share my screen. Wait a little bit. Okay, with that backup, wait a little bit. I'll just go back to our lesson. Okay. Okay, okay, this is the slide where we left from. So we are now going to move on our next slide. I hope you are seeing this, my students.
Yes, sir. I can see it po.
Okay. Again, same. Same scenario earlier. I will read the questions first, and after I read, you will have the chance to read it again for the class. You understand, students? Okay, Mr. Get, what's your question?
Sir, I can still see you on the presentations. I think your MS Teams is still in the screen.
Okay, thank you for reminding me that, Mr. Get. I forgot to leave that screen. Okay, again, same scenario earlier. I will read the questions first, and after I read, you will have the chance to read it again for the class. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry for the trouble. We're going to a little bit faster for our lesson since our time consumed a lot. Okay. This is the question. Number one, what drink that Nami asked for? Number two, what kind of tea that Nami drinks? You may read it again, Miss Elget.
Questions. Question number one. What drink that Nami asked for? Question number two. What kind of tea that Nami drinks?
Okay, thank you for reading our questions, Miss Elget. Now let's move on our dialogue. Wait, this is wrong. Seems that there's something wrong with my presentation, and we got lag again. Wait. There's an technical error. Wait, my dear students. Our screen again, hang up again. So I'm just going to present it again. Wait a little bit, students. All the time, why the errors happening right now? Okay, let me present it again, students. A little bit. We uh, your experience technicalities. Our wait, I just got presented again. Why it hang? Sorry for these things, my students. Still, we need to continue this discussion. I hope that things will get better.
It's okay po, sir. I understand.
What is happening? Wait, my students. Why it is not presenting something? Okay, seems that the internet is really slow time. Where we left at. Okay, this is where we left at. So now let's move on our dialogue. Sorry for these technicalities not happening right now, my students.
It's okay, sir.
Okay, let's now get back our lesson. Again, this time I will read the dialogue and all you need to do is to listen carefully. You may jot down notes so you can have answers for our questions later. Sanji, what do you want to drink? Nami, green tea, please. Sanji, oh, how do you like your tea? Nami said, more fragrant. Sanji said, why is that? Nami answered, for me, it tastes better. All right. Sanji said, all right, if that's what you want. Again, I will read the dialogue. You may jot down notes. What do you want to drink? Green tea, please. Oh, how do you like your tea? More fragrant, please. Why is that? For me, it tastes better. All right, that's what you want. I hope you jot down something on this uh, dialogue. Let's now move on to our questions. Okay. Based on the dialogue, question number one: what drink that Nami asked for? You may answer that question, Miss Salget.
I think green tea, sir,
Yes, you are correct. And for the question number two, what kind of tea that Nami drinks?
with more fragrance, sir.
Yes, you are correct. It's a kind of or type of tea that there's tea that strong, there's tea that sweet. So let's move on our next slide. Okay, same scenario. Uh, same scenario again, just like earlier. I will read the questions, and after I read, you will have the chance to read it again for the class. Do you understand, student?
Yes, sir.
Okay, question number one. What do you think? What do you think colder and colder, hotter and hotter pertains to? You may read it again, Miss Salget.
What do you think colder and colder, hotter and hotter pertains to?
Thank you for reading our questions again, Miss Salget. Now we will move on to our dialogue.
Do you want me to answer that question, sir?
Later, Miss Salget.
Alright po.
Let's just read the dialogue first, so you will be able to answer it. Here is our dialogue. Usop, what's up with the climate this past few days, right, Zoro? Zoro said, what? Something happened? Nothing happened. It's just last weekend the temperature became colder and colder. Oh, what's wrong with that? Huh? Can't you see that today is kind of hot? Now that you mention it, yeah, the climate is getting hotter and hotter. Right, finally. Again, allow me to read the dialogue for the second time. What's up with the climate this past few days, right, Zoro? What happened? Not what? Something happened? Nothing happened. It's just last weekend the temperature became colder and colder. Oh, what's wrong with that? Huh? Can't you see that today is kind of hot? Now that you mention it, yeah, the climate is getting hotter and hotter. Right? Am I right? Finally. Okay, let's move on to our question and answer rather. Okay, based on the dialogue, Miss Elgit, what do you think colder and colder, hotter and hotter pertains to?
I think, sir, it pertains to the temperature, weather, or climate, sir.
Yes, you're correct. Now we will move on to our next slide. I hope so far you learn things based on something on our dialogues. Okay, we have here again questions. I will read the questions first, and after I read, we will have the chance to read it again. Okay, question number one. What is more What is getting more and more gigantic? Question number two. What do you think the reason is? Again, Ms. Elget, you may read our questions again for the class.
Questions. Question number one. What is getting more and more gigantic? Question number two. What do you think the reason is?
All right, thank you for reading our question, Ms. Elget. Now we will move on to our dialogue for these questions. will be answered later. Okay, here's our dialogue. Allow me to read, Allow me to read the dialogue first, so you may jot down notes, things so you can have answers later. And please listen carefully. Chopper, wow, this is amazing, Frank said. Yeah, this is so wonderful to see. Chopper answered. Look at there, the buildings. Frankie said, oh, oh, wait a little bit. Oh, it seems that,
Hello, sir?
hello, Mr. Get, it seems that we have lost collection a while ago.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you picking up the, okay, now we will continue our lesson. Again, allow me to read the dialogue. I will read it twice with which I will read it twice faster so we don't lose any time. Wow, this is amazing. Yeah, this is so wonderful to see. Look at there, the buildings. Oh, are the buildings getting more and more gigantic? That's true. Things were not like this before. I think this is because of technological advancement. Now that you said it, it seems that things are getting more and more advanced even in medical field. Yeah, you're right. Again, allow me to read the dialogue again for the second time. Wow, this is amazing. Frankly, yeah, this is so wonderful to see. Look at there, the buildings. Oh, are the buildings getting more and more gigantic? That's true. Things were not like this before. I think that this is because of technological advancement. Now that you said it, it seems that things are getting more and more advanced, even in medical fields and other fields. Yeah, you are right. Now let's move on to our questions. Okay, based on the dialogue, question number one. What is getting more and more gigantic? You may answer that question, Miss Elget.
I think it is the building, sir.
Yes, you are correct. And for the question number two, what do you think the reason of that?
I think the reason of that, sir, is technological advancement po.
Yep, very well said, Miss Elget. Good job. Okay, let's now move on to our next slide. Okay, we have here a set of questions. We have here four questions to be exact. Okay, based on your observation of the discussion so far, let's test how much you understand and remember of the things we have discussed. For question number one, I will ask you students and you will answer me, of course. So now let's move on to our question number one. Question number one, what have you noticed in the dialogue?
Well, based on my observations, sir, I have noticed that all the dialogues contains comparative adjectives in each of the item po.
Okay, that was a good observation, Ms. Get, that each of the dialogues has comparative adjectives in each of them. That was a very good observation. Now, for question number two, can you give me an example or examples of the comparative adjective in the given dialogue, Ms. Salget?
Yes, sir. Am I being heard po?
Yes, you are audible.
So, sir, the first one are the words smarter and harder, while the second one are the words that are more fragrant and better. The third one are the words colder and colder, hotter and hotter, and lastly po, the words more and more, gigantic, and more advanced po.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. And allow me to go back to our dialogue to see if Ms. Salget's answers are correct. And on the first dialogue, Ms. Salget said that we have here words uh, smarter and harder, which is true. I mean, you can see that you can see those two words in this dialogue. And for the next dialogue, Mr. Get said that uh, we have here, Mr. Get said that words more fragrant and better, which is present as well in this dialogue. And for our third dialogue, Mr. Get answered words colder and colder and hotter, which is again present in this dialogue. And lastly, in our last dialogue, uh, Mr. Get noticed these words, which is more, more and more gigantic and more advanced. And and your answers, Mr. Get, you're right with with the examples you provide. As you can see, you may notice that there's actually two comparatives present in each of the dialogue. Let's go back to, let's move on to our question number 3. Are the dialogues have similarities and difference from each other? In what way?
I think, sir, each of the dialogue differ from each other. The first one seems that it shows cause and effect because of studying, while the second one is kind of short. The third one seems like it shows extremeness, while the last one looks like it is in long form po.
Okay, that was a very sharp observation right there, Miss Alget. I know the examples I provide, so I know that you answered it correctly. You clearly identify even the elements that shows the differentiation of the dialogues. Okay, based on your answer so far, you may have a grasp of what is our topic or lesson for today. That there are sentences or statements which contains comparative adjectives. It is not just a comparative adjectives actually, rather a two comparatives together in a dialogue which we can use in making a sentence or creating a sentence that involves two comparatives together, two comparative adjectives together rather. In two comparatives together, we have these elements that a two comparatives together sentence can show cause and effect, can shorten a sentence, uh, can show exaggeration or extremeness, and can show long comparative sentence that shows change. By the way, these two comparatives together actually can be associated with comparative adjectives where it was rooted from. Comparative adjective like, for example, Brooke is taller than Sunny. Based on my example, you will be able to identify what kind of sentence it is, which clearly shows one comparative adjective to compare two things or people. Like like what I said, Brooke is taller than Sunny. With regards of our lesson, we use two comparative adjectives in making a dialogue. Now, for question number 4, can you give me examples of sentences with two comparative adjectives together?
Yes po, sir. I actually take down three examples po. So for the first one, the louder the neighbor noise is, the angrier the people gets. For the second example, or for my second sentence, the more the merrier. And for the third one, the COVID-19 cases is decreasing lower and lower. And I just think about this now, but I think this also belongs to comparative adjectives, which is my school has become more and more tiresome.
All right, good job, Miss Halget. All of your examples are correct, and you even use different elements of two comparatives together. That only shows how much you have learned our lesson for this day. All right, that's the end of our discussion this day. Thank you for attending this class, students. Have a nice day ahead.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day po.